Something about the world ain't right. The darkness lives in plain sight. In the ether, adjust your eyes. There are those that have no clue. You give them hints, they just stare at you. Most have lived in Plato's cave, watching.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Sherry B and Maria Boldry. Maria's a naturopath and has been educating many of us on TeraHertz and frequency, etc. And Sherry can get into a little bit more about Maria if she'd be so kind. So, ladies, welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Hey, Joe, good to see you. It's been a while since we've done a show together. And Maria Boldry, our favorite naturopath.
Oh, you guys are sweet.
Woo-hoo. All right. And thanks, everybody, for joining us today. I'll go ahead and intro really quick Maria Boldry in case you have not met her yet. Maria Boldry is a naturopath and educator based in Greeley, Colorado, and the founder of Light Life Solutions, a natural healing clinic. Maria works closely with clients to identify root causes of imbalance and create personalized protocols that support the body's innate ability to heal. She's been in the health and wellness world since 1997 and calls herself an electroceutical junkie. Passionate about education, she empowers individuals by examining their symptoms to create a better understanding of their deficiencies. Her work is rooted in the belief that when given the right support, the body has an incredible capacity to rebalance, restore, and thrive. So, woohoo, we're all for that. And that's why we're here today. I just have to say, I'm so happy everybody's here. We're here because we care about people. We care about health, we care about humanity, and that's why we've chosen our work that we all do. So thank you, Joe, for having us on, and I'm doing live stream also from a Right to Know on my Rumble as well. And thank you, Maria, for joining us back again. And I know you've got some really cool things to share with us today.
Yes, I do. And all three of us are heavily involved in some great technology that's just come about. And so we're sharing that today. That's what we're talking about, is the Oli Life, specifically the P90 Plus, because that's kind of our foundational piece that we all love. They have other products, but Oli Life is an amazing company. And we'd like to share some information on what it is, why you need it, and what it does. So I'm just going to jump right into the slide deck. We don't need to keep people waiting, right?
Sure. And I know there's, a lot of people know what PEMF is, but I know you're going to talk about that in your slide deck and TeraHertz and all that good stuff.
And Joe, I can't bring it up. So if you can, there we go. For whatever reason, it wouldn't let me bring it up. Yeah, Oli Life. And we're part of a group called Oli Nation. It's just a section of that particular company, of the main company. So if you see Oli Nation, that's our team. That's who we are. And we offer just tons of great support to all of the people who order and want to share this information with others. So if you see Oli Nation, you're talking about us, which is awesome. There is a disclaimer here. I'll just read it really quick. The Oli Life products are not medical devices and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent, or any disease or medical condition. Any statements regarding potential wellness benefits have not been evaluated by the FDA and should not be interpreted as medical advice. Not everyone appearing on this program is trained in medical science. No statements or beliefs should be construed as medical advice. This educational material is offered for educational and entertainment purposes only. Use of any wellness device should not replace consultation with a licensed healthcare practitioner or professional, especially if you have an existing medical condition, are pregnant, or taking medications, or have concerns about your health. You are encouraged to do your own due diligence and research the material presented here. Okay, got that out of the way. So, talking about Oli Life, where did it come from? This is awesome because it came about, started research in 2022 and sort of came out to the general public in 2023 in Asia. Really wasn't even present here in the United States, just by some people who happen to know about it, that we're bringing it here. In fact, it really didn't come to the United States until sometime in 2024, and then started gaining momentum in 2025. And just last month, was it July, they did our little group, that's not the entire United States, but our group did 11 million in sales for the month of July. So they do no advertising. And I think this is one of the key things, to have that much happen in sales in a short period of time, and to have this much growth in a short period of time, always tells me that it's growing organically because people are choosing to talk about it and share. There's no hype, there's no advertising, there's no nothing. It's just the device works. And people, when something works, people share, right? So I always look at the organic growth of something and I go, this must be really intriguing, because there's no advertising. There's nothing that's swaying anybody. It's all just person to person delivery. And I think that's what's so amazing. So where did it come from? Oli Life was founded in 2022. Global headquarters are in Hong Kong, but they also have home offices in Singapore and Malaysia. So there's a lot of presence in the Asian company in the Asian countries. Dr. Bruce H., and I think you pronounce it Zhang, but I'm not sure. It may be Hang, and I don't know if the Z, I don't know. I don't know how he pronounces it. I'm going to say Zhang because that sounds fun. Founder of Oli Life Technology. The founder established Oli Life to realize the vision of technology for universal health. So think about that. Here in America, we have our orthodox medicine as our universal health. But here he's talking about having technology become our universal health, merging technology and health to make it easy for everyone to achieve a healthy lifestyle. And that's really what he was looking at, is how can I get this type of technology that we know is out there into the hands of the majority of people, so that people can start healing. Dr. Zhang is an inventor and entrepreneur who developed technology behind the company's wellness devices. His products are based on research in bioenergetics, frequency technology, and wellness support. Everything we all need, right? Oli Life believes that everyone is a champion of their own health, and this principle guides the research of the company to empower health. So that is really the foundation. What is really intriguing about the owner, though, is he was always really amazed at how pro athletes could find nutrition and healing devices, health devices, wellness devices that would put that athlete back on the field, back in the pool, back on the slopes, whatever, in the shortest amount of time, where it might take you and me months and months and months to heal. They were doing it in weeks or maybe even days. And so here is a pro athlete skier. I just pulled up her information, and it shows all of the injuries that she had. And this is just a little snapshot from 2013, where she had all of these injuries, and the healing time before she was back out on the slope again. That's a lot of injuries and severe injuries, bone fractures and torn, not only just, but almost all the way through torn ACLs and MCLs. So this is a skier. So you're looking at a lot of pressure and torque and weight on those knees all the time, right? From the top of the hill down to the bottom. And so to trust her body again, after such a short period of time, to do her activity, her sport, to me is amazing. I might never go skiing again, right? I mean, I'm done, not doing it anymore. But here she is recovering in short periods of time. We don't know what technology she was using. We just know she was using technology that we may not have access to. That's what the founder was looking for, where these pro athletes have just these ample, alternatives, so they can heal faster and they could get back to their sport really quickly. So pro athletes are investing in increasingly sophisticated recovery technology and generation performance tools. So why not bring it to the layman? right? If it's there, why not bring it to us? And I know some athletes are very careful about what they say they're using because they want to have that edge. But okay, it's time for us to have an edge, right? It's time for us to have some healing when we just take a fall in front of our house and we just need to recover faster. That's really what we're looking for. So pro athletes use highly advanced wellness technologies, accelerate tissue repair, reduce inflammation, and bypass the traditional downtime. By utilizing specialized data-driven recovery protocols, the athletes can condense healing times that previously took months into just a matter of days. And like I said, would take us maybe years. So this is fun. This is a doctor, they call him Dr. Reef, and you can find him on YouTube. He uses all kinds of different technology. I don't know if he uses the Oli Life, but if somebody knows him, they should put it in his hands, right? Because this is what he's after, is trying to get people to get to their best performance possible. But he's saying after an injury, you might be operating at only 50% of your motor neurons recruiting, right? So that would be us probably long-term. That's why a lot of physical therapists can only get you back to 70% of your range of motion after maybe some surgery or something like that. That's what he's talking about, is that you might be only operating at 50% of the neuron recruiting so that the muscles are firing right and the small twitch muscles and everything is firing right. So by using something like electric current, we're going to talk about that. So by using something like electric current, we're able to recruit more, maybe even up to 60 or 70% to start to turn the lights on. And I love that quote because really that's what his whole practice is about, is taking somebody who has an injury, a pro athlete or anyone who has an injury, and getting them back to stability and to trust their joints, trust their muscles, trust their stability in the shortest period of time so they can do their job. Right. And right. So the founder of Oli was taking all of this into account, and he loved how pro athletes just found the right tools and the right mechanisms. And that is why he put together the P90 Plus.
Got it. Now, I'm just curious, as far as the athletes having access to this or something similar, it's probably been around for years and it's only recently coming out to the public, it sounds like.
Well, all of the frequencies that we're going to be talking about that are contained in the Oli Life, those individual frequencies have been used for a long time.
Right.
Individual. I don't know of another device right now that takes three. I call it this secret sauce trifecta of three different frequency patterns coming together directly to the body. I don't know of another device that does that. There may be one out there. I just haven't, and maybe it's elite, right? That's why I don't know about it, because it's in that realm and I don't know about it. But this one definitely is high up on my scale, probably the highest.
Yeah, and the three you're talking about, you're going to explain, right? I know it's PEMF, TeraHertz, and there's a third one. And surprise.
Surprise. Okay, so, and we always used to talk about just the PEMF and the TeraHertz. And then when I really started looking at it, and I'm like, oh, this is so much more. So I have a lot of people ask, why do I need it? I already have a sauna. I already have an oxygen tent. I already have, a red light mask that I put on.
Yeah.
Like, why do I need this? And I think that is very valid. It's a very valid point. Why do we need it? This is what's so fun about Oli Life, is if we go back a little bit, let's go back a couple of generations and let's look in the past. And we live on this amazing planet that is electric, magnetic, right? That's what we are. We're electric and we're magnetic. We're a bunch of atoms that have negative and positive protons, electrons, and then we can be electrocuted. So we're electric. We have an electrical system. In the past, we used Earth a lot differently than we use it now. So we used to get more adequate sun exposure, right? The last few years, last 5 to 7 years have really brought us indoors. Better water sources, better, not so much pollution, better oxygenation, probably more exercise. We do a lot of sitting now with just the different things that we're doing. We hugged trees. We just were out playing. We didn't have screen time. You and all of us on this panel are about the same age. We remember going out and playing in the alleys. And when the lights went on, we knew it was time to come home because we were just out. We we didn't sit in front of the TV, maybe Saturday morning cartoons, but we just really were outside. I remember playing in alleys and making forts and doing all kinds of stuff, but we were out in the sunshine and we were barefoot. We were barefoot in the grass and we were playing in the trees. We were climbing trees and making forts, and we were doing all that. And we just don't see that kind of activity now. We see trails that people can walk on in parks and whatever, but I just don't see that kind of activity. And mostly because things have degraded a little bit, but we still have this amazing planet. So if we go back a couple of generations, we can look at from then, within the last 2 generations, we have now depleted soil. Right? We've not put enough back into the soil. Farmers just now are doing where they reserve that field. And so they don't grow anything on it for periods of time so that it can regenerate. But for a while there, it was just every year. So in 2 generations, we have depleted soil. So then we have naturally depleted food, right? There's not enough minerals in the soil, none nutrients in the soil to come up and give the fruit or the vegetables or whatever, what we had way back then. So then we have naturally depleted bodies. So you take those top 3 things. We have depleted soil, which means our food is depleted, which means we're depleted. We're not creating healthier humans as we go along. We're creating, generations of children that are depleted from the very start. Now we have forever chemicals and we have heavy metals, not only from the air, but from the soil coming up and what we spray on the food. We stay indoors a lot more. We just talked about that. And we just move our bodies less because we're in front of computers, we're screen time, we're so addicted to all of that. Mm-hmm. So this is a study, this goes up in just to 1997. So I couldn't find a study that brings us up to date, 10 years, 10 years more. But we're looking at, calcium down 27% in 12 different fresh vegetables that they decided to pull and check. The calcium was down 27%, iron down 37%, vitamin A down 21%, vitamin C down 30%. That is unfortunate and remarkable that it would take, I think I read somewhere that in 1915, 1 apple is equivalent to 26 apples today. So back then, the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, was very accurate because it was so full of vital nutrition and our guts weren't so hemmed in by chemicals and heavy metals that we were absorbing a lot more. So there was this beautiful thing happening with better food source and a better gut to absorb it. And now we're compromised in both areas. We have food that's compromised for nutrition, and we have our gut health that doesn't allow for the absorption that we used to have just a couple of generations ago. So this is us now. We're living in big cities with lots of pollution. We have a lot of screen time. We're taking tons of different medications. Microwaving our food, which completely changes the whole blueprint structure of what a food is designed to do in the body. And then we're just living this fast-paced world. So we're on the prescription drugs. We're not getting outside. We have pollution, limited exercise. One of the big things is red light. Thank goodness, God put in somebody's brain to bring red light therapy to the table because we need red light spectrum. We need that. And we're not necessarily present at the sunrise and sunset anymore. And that's where we get this, again, this beautiful planet is giving us every single thing that we need. Everything we need to charge our battery, to charge our body, to charge our cells is in this earth. And we're just not using it like we used to. So that's, the big thing when someone says, why do we need it? I even had someone in my family just say, oh, I'm healthy. I'm like, yeah, but you felt better when you were using the device for the short period of time you had it, which means maybe you don't have the vitality that you're thinking that you have, right? So why do we need it? We need it because we're not utilizing Earth the way it used to be used, right?
Right. It is amazing that something like a microwave and many other things just, gets created and put out there, and there's really no letting the public know how not good that is for them. And, we see it with all kinds of examples, but that's because I try to not microwave anything if at all possible.
Well, I used to explain it to people like this. So let's say an orange has a blueprint that our body recognizes. Our body knows how to break it down, to digest it, metabolize it, to absorb it, and to eliminate all of the ash residue, right? Everything is contained in that blueprint. If you microwave it, you've just changed that whole blueprint. What if everything was the same except for elimination? And now you have this ash residue within the body creating inflammation because the body's going, well, I know how to get it in and I know how to use it. I just don't know how to get rid of the metabolic waste.
Wow.
I don't know how to get rid of the ash residue internally, cellularly. And then that creates inflammation. And then that creates illness. So I always try to give that as an example of, we don't know exactly what the microwave is doing to our food. We just know it's altering it, right?
Right. And it is also amazing, as you mentioned, Joe, and we all know, Maria, that the things that are allowed to be out there that hurt people, it's just amazing. And then they seem to fight us for bringing on new advanced technologies.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so sad. But you're then when you start looking at the agenda and the bigger picture, you understand why. And then you can get back to the reason why we need this, right?
Right.
So here's why we need it. This is the nuts and bolts. Earth is giving us everything we need, right? It recharges our batteries. Everything else that we're experiencing, 79 to 90% of the population is experiencing some sort of medical illness, medication addition, food that's not being absorbed properly because of gut issues, and massive amounts of stress. That's 70 to probably even more than 90%. I would say this is probably a very, very conservative percentage. 79% of the population is dealing with some sort of assault on the human body, but then not doing what you need to recharge.
Yeah, well, even our cell phones and computers are an assault.
Absolutely. And we carry them with us all the time. And if we don't have them, we start to stress, right? So it's like a spaghetti system of stress because
Right.
one thing leads to the other. So when you're looking at how do I recharge my battery? Sure. If you want to go live on an island that doesn't have any stuff, no screens, don't take your phone with you. You want to go up in the mountains and do a non-electrical everything and then live there, then you're probably going to do a lot more of this. But that's not us, right? We're down in the cities. We're doing our stuff. We're working in front of the computer.
Right.
So the Oli Life, really, as the owner and the founder presented to us, is a human battery charger. It does the things that Earth does. Now, yes, it's a device. However, are we going to change our lifestyle to this? If are 70 to 90% of the people going to change their lifestyle to this so they can start getting healthier? Well, they could, but then we have the food issue, right? We have the forever chemicals. We have the heavy metals. We have the pollution. We have water supply that even through the municipal water supply, we're still getting tons of different nano particles of stuff that's just there. Yeah. So even somebody who tries and says, oh, I eat everything organic. Well, we're still not probably hitting the mark. So that's why we need it, because this can be the human battery charger that you've been looking for any type of health issue that has come your way over the years. So what it does. So now let's get into the nitty gritty of what it does. So PEMF, we talked a little bit about that. PEMF stands for pulsed electromagnetic field. Does amazing things in the body. Everything here on the screen is what PEMF does. In fact, if you go to pubmed.gov and you type into the search PEMF and any issue, you probably will find an article where something has been written about it. So pulsed electromagnetic field is prevalent. It's been used now for a very long time. Even NASA, was one of the first ones to study that. And what I've learned because I'm an electroceutical junkie, right? So what I've learned in my practice is that PEMF, one of the main things it does is get better blood flow out to the cells. And it helps the smooth muscle in the cardiovascular system keep pushing blood out to the cell. It keeps that activated. And so my little saying is better blood flow equals better everything. If you can get blood to the cell knows what to do. But we all have levels of inflammation and congestion that don't allow for blood flow to get there as quickly or as youthful, right? So we then end up with compromised blood that's compromised in its oxygen levels, compromised with micronutrients. And then because the blood isn't getting out there quickly, we're not getting waste removal. So now we have inflammation. So there's this thing that happens with PEMF where all of a sudden people start going, wow, I'm like feeling warmer in my extremities. I'm like, well, that's better blood flow, right? That's just not heating. That's just using PEMF. And then all of a sudden you're feeling things differently. So that's better blood flow. So PEMF has been around for a long time. And this is what PEMF does. This is what's so amazing, is that here's a slide before someone is on the Oli Life, which contains the integrated PEMF. So look at the blood clumping. This is thick blood, and it's sticky blood, and it's acidic. So this is not healthy. Some of our vessels in our body are so tiny that only one of these can make it through the vessel at a time. So if there's any inflammation or any congestion, this is not working. What would that turn into? Well, cardiovascular disease, neuropathy, gut issues, IBS, colitis, Crohn's disease, all of that is part of that. We don't get the micronutrients from the blood and the oxygenation from the blood out to the cell. This slide is after one 20-minute session on the Oli Life device, the P90 Plus. This is what happens. Everything starts to break up, and we need to be a little bit more alkaline than acidic. Oxygenation or oxygen is alkalizing to the system. That changes the blood viscosity. It makes it a little thinner. Think of yoga. That's why yoga is so good for us, because we inhale deeply and we bring more oxygen into the body. Yes, some people say, well, oxygen is a free radical. Yes, but it also balances pH, and pH, higher pH then can compensate for the free radical effects. So,
and Maria, that slide is stupendous. Well, you're showing us a slide, and we've seen the actual video.
The actual video.
So
the video is pretty amazing. Yeah.
That someone had taken at the doctor's before putting their feet on the P90 Plus,
right,
and then taking the blood right after the same office appointment. And just amazing to see on the left how sluggish, and it's not alive. It's not, there's not light around the cells. And then to see the difference on the right. And I mean, if we have healthy cells, then we're going to have a healthier body.
And if we have better blood flow to get to the cells, yeah, everything about it is amazing. Everything about it is important, and why we need it, because many, many people are living their life with this on the left.
Right. Maria, roughly how long would the session, last, I suppose, before it dissipates or the cells go back, if that question makes sense?
Yes, does. So once we get to this place, yes, we have to start changing our lifestyle. The Oli Life, the manual itself says at least 4 hours in between. So that tells me that there is a nice 4-hour window of time where you have better blood viscosity. It's a little thinner, and it's not as sticky, and we're getting blood flow out. What can the body do with better blood in just 4 hours? Amazing things. It's right. Just, I've worked with PEMF for so many years now. I've just seen it do amazing things. Even in just one session can do amazing things. I've had people literally come to one Oli Life session, and then I haven't seen them again because it helped whatever they came for. Now, did I educate them properly to come back? No, because they really need it every day. Right. So if you're working up to where you have 2 sessions a day, you're getting potentially 8 hours or more. I think everybody's a little different, and we all come from varying levels of congestion. Right. So at least 8 hours of better blood flow consistently can do so many amazing things.
I mean, just think about the repair. Just think about the repair that needs to be done in our entire lives, even if we're healthy. I mean, I eat healthy, I work out, but still, we're bombarded with chemtrails, with fluoride in some of the water. Now learning that a lot of the products, the ingredients in them have nanotech, so we have to stay ahead of the curve until we can, turn this ship around for humanity, which is being worked on. But in the meantime, we got to hang around and be as healthy as possible.
Agreed. 100%. So I talked a little bit about NASA. NASA was one of the first to study PEMF for counteracting bone loss and muscle atrophy in microgravity. So we need gravity. We need the magnetism of Earth. That's what helps our bone density. That's what helps our muscle stay. We're all part of that. We belong here. Our physical body belongs on Earth. We're just not using it right. So then I love these PEMF FDA approvals and clearances for non-union fractures, for bone growth, for cervical surgeries, treatment for depression and anxiety, treatment for brain cancer even. I mean, you can really research even in PubMed.gov, PEMF and whatever type of cancer, and you can see, have there been any studies, articles, or anything that has been brought to light and researched and studied regarding that, the PEMF and that health issue. It's really, really remarkable. PEMF is one of those things that it's just, it's, if you're not going outside and grounding every day, why do we need it? Because we're not doing that, right? One 20-minute session is equivalent to 6 hours of grounding. That's crazy. That's 6 hours with your feet in the grass. Okay, that would be really nice. That would be awesome. But I can't afford to do that, right? I've got a lot to do. So I can't spend 6 hours out with my feet in the grass or planted in the beach or wherever I'm at. Although that would be beautiful. Right. Okay, so that was the PEMF. Now we're going to talk about TeraHertz. I talk about or I demonstrate TeraHertz in this. So look at Hertz. Hertz is 1 cycle per second. So you're doing, this wave pattern. And then gigahertz is 1 billion cycles per second. So now you're a little faster. And now you're looking at terahertz, which is 1 trillion. So that's like the ripple across the water, right? So when we're looking at voltage coming at us, electricity coming to us, wave patterns coming to us, we need to look at the frequency. Terahertz is really, really, really helpful at low terahertz. 1 terahertz, right? Does a lot because we're looking at a really, really tight, wave pattern. What does terahertz do? Terahertz excites the water molecules in the body. Activate isn't quite the right word, but that's kind of what we use, but it excites them. So they're vibrating at a little bit higher frequency themselves. Well, that changes how the cells function too then, because we are so much water that if we're vibrating a little higher, then our cells are naturally going to vibrate and have a higher resonance, a little bit higher vitality. So terahertz not only helps with blood flow and some of the other things that PEMF does, but I like to look at it as PEMF delivers the blood and terahertz activates the cells and it invigorates the cells so that when the blood flow gets there, there's so much more that can happen. Right? So those two together, I always called the secret sauce. It was like, oh my gosh, this is a dynamic duo. This is beautiful. I love what this does. And then I started researching, well, we're putting our feet on an electrical device that's delivering AC current, AC DC, so direct current. This is alternating current. Alternating current therapy supports body tissue by delivering low-level electrical impulses that mimic the body's natural electro or bioelectric signals. So now we have, and let me go back to here really quick. There are a lot of, remember when I was talking about Dr. Reef and some of the things he's using alternating and direct current in some of his devices because it changes how the muscles function. So he will deliver that pulse or that current while the person is doing a specific exercise to make sure that the muscle is getting the electric current it needs in order to function. So when I always thought just the PEMF and the terahertz were the secret sauce. And then I realized we have alternating current that's coming in too. So alternating current changes how the brain and the body communicate. It changes how the cells communicate. Mm-hmm. Our body is an electrical system. So if we have something that's directing an electrical pulse at the same time, very low level, right? But directing that, now we have a trifecta. We have 3 things happening all at once. We have better blood flow with the PEMF. PEMF does a lot more than that. I'm just saying that as one thing. Better blood flow with the PEMF. And then we have higher cellular vitality with the terahertz. It does a lot more than that, but I'm saying that. And then we have alternating current, which then creates the communication needed cell to cell, brain to body.
And
So-
by the way, that was the current that Nikola Tesla used, AC, and proved that it was way better than DC, direct current. So AC.
Right. So when you take all three of these and you put them together in the same device that you could put your feet on and sit and read a book or whatever, just sit there, pray, meditate, whatever, for 20 minutes, and you have this directed 3 different wave patterns coming at you that our Earth does give us individually, randomly, but this is directed to the human body. This to me is the trifecta of healing. This is what people have been looking for, because you have better blood flow, better cell vitality, and then you have cell-to-cell communication. When all of that's happening, then you have a spiral up into health, because if the cells are getting better blood flow and they are being stimulated to have a higher vitality, and there's better cellular communication, then the cells are actually calling for more nutrients, right? They're calling for better blood flow. This is like, it's like finally the cells get to have a voice and say, hey, I need better blood flow now. And so everything starts to pick up. And I think every single person that has used the P90 Plus has said, I sleep better and I have more energy just throughout the day, let alone all of the other really cool things that we've heard about in testimonials that we can definitely talk about. But these 3 different wave patterns coming together are literally the trifecta to health. The other thing that it does, and this is through a device called the pulse wave. It's a smart pulse wave that you put on your finger, and it detects basically the age of your veins and arteries based on the pulse wave that's emitted back and forth with your heart. So sadly, this is my slide. So I'm being very vulnerable right now, and I'm showing you me. What I want to show you is this. In this first slide over here, this is before the 20-minute session on the P90 Plus. Anything in the red is not good. It means that the gas pedal I'm flooring it, right? Pedal to the metal. And I don't have a whole lot of braking capability, right? If it were all over here, or if it were in the blue over here in the autonomic nervous system, it would signify that, wow, I probably don't have enough cortisol to really bring me up. We want everything to be really right down the middle. We don't want extremes, more in the green than in the orange, but we want to be, in the middle or just a little bit higher. So this is me prior to a 20-minute Oli session. My physical stress, super stressed, mental stress, super stressed. I don't know what was going on that day, but this was me. And then just my overall stress score, and then the autonomic nervous system, the entire thing. This is my capacity to deal with stress and to slow down and to just be. So on this particular day, I wasn't doing very well. After a 20-minute session, look at the change. The physical stress went from in the red to up in the orange. The mental stress went to normal. Wow. It just sort of like, right?
Yeah.
And then the stress overall came up, but then look at the autonomic nervous system. It came back to where I'm using the gas pedal and the brake pedal appropriately.
Where would someone go if they wanted to take a test like that on their own or as well?
Well, the device, you can purchase the device if you want to. I'll just show it to you what it looks like.
It's the little block.
It's the little, let's see if I hold it up
meter.
Here.
Yeah.
It's just a little finger thing that you read, and and then you attach it right here. You attach it to your computer or your phone, and then it'll show you the printout. So
okay, I haven't seen that before.
This little device is really, really awesome. Yeah.
Is that called something specific?
It's a pulse wave. I think Sherry has a link.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sherry has a link for it so people can check it out. It's very cool. And it's something that I use it because I'm a big proponent of cardiovascular health. And so I have that device because I like to see where somebody is at. Basically, where are they at? What is the potential of plaquing in their body based on their stress? So that's why I had it. This was sort of like whoa, I want to try and see what that device does with the Oli Life. So it was sort of like in a moment, I was like, I should see. Let me do a test prior to the Oli Life and then do one after. And I was just gobsmacked because it's like, this changed so dramatically. And then this is the other part of the test. So this is my arterial elasticity. And that's what the device is really designed to do, is show people how elastic. If you're nice and elastic like a rubber band, then your blood is flowing much more freely. It's getting that pulse wave action to go clear out to the cell. If it's really tight and there's some atherosclerosis or whatever, you're not going to have that flexibility. So that's what this the test is designed for. That's what the pulse wave device is used for. So in this one, this particular same day, this is the same test. Here's my arterial elasticity, and here it is after. Already from a peripheral, I was okay because I've never had issues with that. But you know, you want your arteries, your big arteries, to be elastic. You want them to move blood. That's what you really want. And then it also shows, this particular device, on a scale of 1 to 7, what is the potentiality that you have some plaquing going on? So here I am, type 2. Right. And then after, I'm still type 2, but if you look at the side, this is type 2 going up to type 3. This is type 2 going down to type 1. This is just a snapshot, right? But if I were to do this every single day, if I was on the Oli device every single day, then the potential that I could start reversing some of the things that have been going on in my whole cardiovascular system are greatly improved. The chances that it could reverse some stuff is greatly improved. So that's what I'm seeing here. And so next thing that the Oli Life does, this is awesome, is, and I don't think we can enhance this at all, but these are 2 different spike protein tests prior to and after starting the Oli Life, using it twice a day. So,
whoa, sorry. I just want to call attention to what you're showing us right now, because I think we're all aware of the last couple of years, spike protein.
Yep. So this gentleman here went from, and I can't read it. Can I see it? I don't think we can expand this. Joe, can we move this up?
If folks are watching the replay, they probably make this bigger somehow.
Yeah, this is like, I think this is like, is it 1700, or it went from 2000 down to 1000 something in units.
After using a session, couple sessions?
4 months, 2 sessions a day, 4 months time. Yeah.
Wow. Pulled down the spike protein.
I'm going to see really quick if I can just pull this up on my phone. I should have gotten it so that we had the numbers for you. And I'm sorry that I didn't do that. Actually, I'll do that during the question and answer, because then when you guys are talking, I can look that up. Okay. So we do know this is proof positive. Two different people independently took a spike protein test prior to getting their Oli device, started using the Oli device two times a day. And in 4 months' time, they had their spike proteins tested again. And both of them saw pretty significant reductions. Yeah. So if you have high spike protein because of everything that we just went through, this is something that you might want to look at as to help with that.
Wow. Yet another benefit that I'm learning.
So what if every day your body was reminded of how good it feels to be recharged? So like that family member of mine who said, oh, I'm healthy, and yet felt some better vitality while she had the device for 2 weeks, right? But decided that she's good. Well, she's missing out because the vitality that she felt could have just continued and maybe even gotten better. So what if every day, just by putting your feet, even once a day, 20 minutes, but if you could do twice a day, what if every day your body was reminded of how good it felt to be recharged? What would that mean for your life? What could you do differently? What would you do differently? So I think that's why we're all super invested in sharing this product, because this device, because we've seen it do some amazing things with people.
Right. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, Scott, he puts his, I do maybe a 6 now. He's been doing a 7. So that's in the morning, but do people usually turn it down a little bit at night?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. In fact, I just had a session earlier and I ran it at 6. Started to get a little warm in my ankles, so I dropped it back. I always go up by the heat, the heat of the ankles. Heat equals resistance. So we don't want to resist those frequencies coming to us. We just want to be free flowing and allow it to come. But in the evening time, I'll just put it on 1 or 2. And it's amazing. It's amazing the difference. I even have a lady who comes 45 minutes to my clinic. She drives 45 minutes. She gets on the device on intensity 1 for 4 minutes. That's it. Because
Right.
she's got a lot of health issues that she's dealing with. And so once a week, she comes for 4 minutes and until she can get her own. She's working,
Right.
working on that, because then she could probably work up to doing it maybe 2 times a day at 4 minutes or whatever. But she has great results at 4 minutes on intensity 1.
Wow.
I don't know of another device that where you could put it on for just a minute or 2 and have great results with inflammation and feeling, just the different things that we see. All the kinds of things.
I use mine on, I mean, like everyone, it's not like the higher, the better. Everyone has a different body and different chemistry and different, repairs that need to happen. And
every day is different. Every day is different based on our own congestion and inflammation. We may have had a really, really high carbohydrate dinner or something that we're a little bit inflamed today. And maybe we get really warm at intensity 3, but we've been running it at 6. It's like every day is a little bit different. And I just tell people, honor the body. There's no rhyme or reason to this. It's just put your feet on and turn it on. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And Marie and Joe, the person who told me about it, Wayne, he had to give him shots because he had diabetes, right? And after using it for 2 months, the P90 plus twice a day, he turned around. In fact, I think he stopped having to give himself shots. His doctor was like, what have you been doing? And of course, consult your doctor. We're not doctors, but that was amazing. And he's the one that told me about the P90 plus. And I was like, and it was somebody I'd known and trusted. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then, we've got somebody in the chat that it really helped with their varicose veins.
Yep.
There you go. Thanks, Joe, for putting that up.
Sure.
What I hear from a lot of people, and everybody's different and has, like I said, everybody's body's different, as you well know, Maria, being a naturopath,
yep.
is but I hear so many people saying, I'm sleeping so much better.
That's one of the first things we hear is I'm sleeping better. I had one gal who I called her the day after she had her first session, and I just asked her how she was and how she felt. She said, well, I really didn't feel anything physical, but I was just in a really good mood. And I'm like, well, that's brain chemistry, right? So that's brain chemistry. So it makes sense why if PEMF helps with anxiety and depression, why people just feel better. I felt that within the first couple of weeks. I was like, I just feel like there's this little happy place that I haven't been able to tap into lately. And I'm feeling that again. It's like a little bit of like internal excitement about just living, right?
That's huge.
Yeah. And my eyesight's gotten better and blood sugar levels have come down. Blood pressure levels are the lowest I've ever had. So it's just, there's some amazing things that happens with this device.
And Maria, why do they call it the P90? Why not the P89? Why not the P70? Why the P90 plus?
I'm so glad you said, because I meant to say that earlier. It's called P90 plus because this was the 90th try of getting these frequencies to come together to show the results that we're seeing. It was the 90th try, so they called it P90.
And also, didn't the owner of the company, the whole reason he created this, how invested we are? I'm a mom. Okay. You know how much we care about our kids. We give our life for our kids.
Right.
And apparently he had a son with a very serious health issue, and he was determined to help his son. And he created this P90 plus and went through 89 tries before he got it just right.
And isn't that how that happens with entrepreneurs and people? Just that engineering mind is like, I have something close to me that I want fixed, whether it's me or, like you said, somebody close. And then it just unfolds into something beautiful that they can offer to the community. And I think I love it. I love it.
And it's also cool to have something that we can use like in our own home. I mean, like you said, okay, you have clients coming to you, they're spending all this gas money and everything, but they're seeing results. Mm-hmm. And then when they get their own, they can take their gas money and everything else and just put it into their own unit and have everybody in their family use it, right? I mean, when you get a machine, if you have a husband or a wife or somebody, you can share it with them, correct?
Absolutely. And your pets. I mean, I have a deaf cat that gets on my lap. I mean, he sits and waits for me to pull my Oli Life out of the bag. And he just sits there and he waits. And then I turn it on and then he comes and he stands on the machine, and he's deaf. So we have hand signals. So I'm like, okay, come up. And then he gets up and he puts 2 paws on one leg and 2 paws on the other. And he stands there for a minute. And then he goes, oh, okay. And then he lays down. He's never there for a full 20-minute session. So animals know what they need, right? But I always look at animals because they just understand frequency. They see things differently, feel things differently. And he's deaf. So his other spidey senses are more enhanced. And he literally will sit there stand at my bag and wait for me to pull the device out. It's been really fun to watch him.
You know, that is so cool. And I just wanted to cry because my friend Michelle, her dog, whom she just, you know, of course, the whole family, you know how you love them beyond. And when Lucy wasn't doing that well, Michelle would pick Lucy up and put Lucy on her lap while she had her feet on the P90 Plus. And she was like sharing with me, it was stunning, you know, how much it was helping Lucy.
Yeah. Same thing with little kids or younger people. There's an age restriction on it, but really it's because younger people may not be able to tell or express that internal warmth sensation. And we don't want to overdo it, right?
Oh,
we want it to be gentle and allow that frequency to flow. So a really good way to do small children is have them sit on your lap. And when they're done, they're done. Kids are the same as animals. It's like when you're done and they want to get down off your lap, they had enough. They're done. Let's, you know, just call it what it is. You and I will, well, I've got 3 minutes left on this 20-minute timer. I'm going to make sure I do it. Well, maybe because you recognize that you were looking at the timer, maybe you're done, you know, but we don't always think that way. We're not taught to think that way.
Right.
But kids will just automatically be done. Animals will just automatically be done. So if I find myself checking the timer a lot, I'm like, I must be done. I just need to be done. And that's good.
Hey, one thing really, really cool. And this is like, I'm into this stuff. Like I'm into the science and the testing and all this stuff. And thanks for sharing that, Maria. And I know you shared some before. You've been on the show with Joe before, so I'm sure he'll have the link to the other show you were on with him. And you've been on my show. And, but NASA. So when the astronauts were in outer space for a prolonged period, when they came back, they had to stay into an apartment type of facility, you know, for X amount of, I think it was like weeks, you know, could have been like 2+ weeks. And they had this frequency, this PEMF flowing through it. They needed that to help prepare their body and their bones to get, you know, to be able to exist back in a healthy way, to step back into Earth's atmosphere. So it's like, this is advanced technology, you know, I mean, this is technology that, listen, we know that because we know about Nikola Tesla, we know that advanced technology has existed for a long time. And so maybe they're just starting to, you know, trickle some out to us. I'm feeling that way, you know, about this, but that's really, you know, really interesting about NASA using the same exact PEMF to help the astronauts.
Right. Well, and I just feel like, you know, I feel like when this type of technology comes about, that we need to really be looking at putting it in our toolbox because we don't know why we might need it. I think our amazing benefit, our universe is coming from such a place of giving, right? It gives to us all the time. And I think we see signs. And I know red light therapy, we talked about that a little bit before the show, where red light therapy came out before we needed it. And why did we need that? Well, we need red light therapy because it helps normalize the calcium ion channel and the way the body helps deliver minerals out to the cells. Well, guess what disrupts that is COVID, viruses, and 5G. But red light therapy,
6G that the Chinese are starting to, yeah.
So red light therapy came out just prior to us really needing it. And we already have it in Earth. Remember, we talked about sunrise, sunset being present in that red light spectrum. We need that. That helps normalize our calcium ion channel. So we have two different things now that are disrupting our calcium ion channel, which is 5G, and then viruses. Viruses follow the calcium ion channel in and then close it off. The body becomes acidic. It's a great breeding ground for it to do its thing. So I look at a device like this and I'm thinking, what's coming? Like what are we moving into that we would need a device that was so amazing at helping us have better cellular vitality, better blood flow, and better cell-to-cell communication for healing, right? What's coming that we're going to need this? So I'm looking at it as, why do we need it? Because we need it in our toolbox. We need it in our toolbox, and maybe we don't even know why.
Yeah, I've definitely got it in my toolbox and am really getting some amazing results. And one thing, Maria, can you explain to our listeners, because some people might not be familiar, the P90 Plus, you get 2 mechanisms that come with it.
Yeah.
And because you mentioned red light therapy. So can you talk about, well, sometimes we call it the claw. You know,
yeah,
can you
Joe,
talk about that?
Put that slide deck back up, and we can just go
Sure.
to a few more
Yeah.
slides.
I think I should. Here we go.
So that's real. People have been getting great results and using that on spot, you know, where they need to do spot work.
Yeah, so this is the OliLife P90 Plus. They do have the P90, but it's a smaller unit and it doesn't come with the attachments. And you have to have a little remote plugged in to run it. It doesn't have the display panel here where you can just press what intensity level you like. So this is the one we always promote because it's got so many different technologies with these 2 attachments, like Sherry was saying. So let's just get into that a little bit. So this is that one. So it has, we call it the claw because it kind of looks like a claw. But what this device is designed to do is designed to deliver EMS, which is electric muscle stimulation. What are they doing in gyms for people who have issues with their muscles, tendons, ligaments, bones? EMS, right? Electric muscle stimulation. So you have the capability of that. It also has red light therapy. There's well, I don't have a picture of it, but at the base of these claws, there's red light diodes that shine red light onto the skin. So you're getting that. You're also getting vibration and heat and PEMF. So you're getting this great attachable. So while you have your feet on the P90 Plus, you can be using this device to helpfully grow hair or work on tight shoulder muscles or activate the vagus nerve, right? Or to work on knees that hurt or inflammation or spine, hip, wherever you need that. I had a lady who had a brain bleed stroke. I saw her 6 weeks into her physical therapy. The stroke affected her shoulder, her elbow, and her wrist and her hand. When I saw her, those 6 weeks of therapy she had gained use and strength back in her shoulder and her elbow, but her hand kept collapsing. So the first session that we did, she had her feet on the P90 Plus, and then she used this claw, and she just kept kind of going up through her hand and working her hand. And after we got done with 20 minutes, she held her hand out straight and she said, Maria, I haven't had the strength. I haven't been able to do this since before it happened. And I said, well, that's great. Let's see what happens with that. Well, as we started talking, we could start to see her hand started to collapse and her wrist started to collapse. So she said, can I come back tomorrow? And I said, absolutely. So she came back the next day and she looked at me and she said, I have to tell you something. My right hand helped me get dressed today. So she had gained enough brain, body, cell-to-cell communication that just using that claw and on the P90 Plus, the next morning she was able to use that hand to help pull her socks up.
Wow. And Maria, I'm going to point out that it's on the left side of the screen, the claw that you're talking about, that mechanism, the one on the right, which you'll mention is about the face. But I met a man in person, live and in person, who had a stroke. And for 13 years, the one side of his body was frozen. His face, his hand, his legs.
You said 13 years.
13 years. Yeah, after his stroke, he couldn't, one side of his body was basically frozen. Well, he used the P90 Plus. It was, I can't remember, 2 to 3 months, and you wouldn't even know he had a stroke.
Isn't that amazing?
I mean, you just want to cry, because people want to be healed. People don't want to walk around as we get older, falling apart. No, we want to be joyful and enjoy life. And, that's why we're here sharing this stuff. And I've seen.
Yeah. And I had a gentleman who was using the claw. He was getting ready for knee surgery, and he was using the claw around his knee that whole time prior to surgery with his feet on the P90 Plus. But what happened was he was able to stop taking his pain medication prior to surgery. So he said, I'm still in pain, but not enough to warrant medication, which gave him a 1-up physically, because now he has some of that removed out of his system. So surgery goes better. And he said to me, he said, I think that if I would have had this device 6 months, 9 months, 12 months ago, I probably would have been able to forego surgery. And so for him to say that, I think was amazing. So he purchased one. So he had one after his surgery, and he's doing great now. So it's awesome. I mean, just that he was able to go off of his medication because it was assisting him with reducing inflammation. Inflammation causes pain. So
right.
The one on the right is a facial tool, but I've seen people use it for a lot of different things, bug bites and all kinds of stuff, But what it does is it offers the EMS, so the electric muscle stimulation, again, for the face, specifically designed for the face to start tightening. And then it also has, radio frequency. Radio frequency just helps the body build collagen and elastin. So it's warming, and you have the little tiny muscle stimulation, almost like a little TENS unit. And you can just, go, there's, I put an ebook together that has the directional, of where to do it and how to, get the best from your face. So both of these come with the P90 Plus. So that's why we encourage the P90 Plus, because there's so many extras to it that it needs to just become the foundational piece.
Hey, this is a good time to mention something that Joe and I talked about that we're going to do. Mm-hmm. So Maria, thank you. I know you've written an ebook that is off the charts that helps everybody with the P90 Plus. It's stuff that, you don't get in the guide or whatever. It's extra stuff, questions that people had asked. And so Joe for his listeners and myself for my listeners, if somebody gets a P90 Plus, which is the machine we're showing here, we're going to actually purchase the book for you. It's an ebook. So if you're listening to this broadcast and you get a P90 Plus, from Joe, those guys are all set up. They'll help you, take really good care of you, but they will offer you as a gift. They will actually purchase for you the ebook. And if I have anybody on my channel who gets a P90 Plus, I will do the same. I will purchase a copy, an ebook for each person that purchases a P90 Plus. So
let me tell you how this came about, because I had several of my clients order, but then I was getting text messages about things once they got their device, like, can I use an extension cord, or can I put it in a power strip, or how do I clean it? And there were just all those things that weren't really noted in the manual that comes with the device. So I was just going to put together a really long PDF of just, FAQ, and then it turned into where there was just so much information and people really wanted a manual that it turned into a 38-page manual of all kinds of different things. I talk about detoxing. I talk about why drinking water and electrolytes are super important, why bringing in nutrition is super important when you start using a device like this, because it's asking your body to do more. So you're going to go through your reserves a little quicker. So we need to be thinking about what are we bringing into our body right now to sustain us. And then if we add something that's going to increase the vitality of how our body's functioning, then we're going to need to bring in more. So things like that are in this book that just show you the why and the how and where to get it. And then the little stuff like, can I use an extension cord? Which you can.
Right. No, all good stuff. I know I've read it more than once, and it's awesome. I wanted to bring up something else too, but I didn't know if Joe had anything you wanted to share. I mean, each one of us have this device, that's why we're able to and want to share it with everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, no, I just want to see my mom use it more, it's so, yeah, it's going to be interesting, but she's starting to crave it more and more, so she's getting on it herself, which that alone is huge. So yeah. So, hey, sometimes it just takes a while.
But I think
people people have habits, and they do their day to day, and so to incorporate something like it's one of the first things I do is when I get up is use this, because why wouldn't I? It's right there. So.
And it's interesting how you said your mom was starting to crave it, because when you feel it, and you feel how it in a really nice way affects your body and just how it feels, you do start to crave it.
Yeah.
Now there's something else that we want to share, and I don't know if you have a slide, Maria, but a lot of our listeners I've done plenty of shows with Dr. Robert O. Young and Caroline Mansfield and Matthew Hazen on, thank you, awesome, on Masterpiece. And I'm going to tell you guys, the latest is, and I was just watching another video on this, is that there's putting nanotechnology, not just probably in the chemtrails. Okay, we all have nanotechnology in our bodies, including myself, including people who did not take the jab. Pre-COVID, there were people that showed to have no nanotech in their body. But for some reason, after COVID, everybody, even if you didn't get the jab, okay, and I actually got tested. I've gone to London where they did the testing and saw the results. And Joe, I know you have posted The Human Antenna, a documentary on your channel that shows the testing that has been done. And we're talking about Masterpiece. The thing is, they're putting nanotechnology in the ingredients of all different products, shampoos, body lotions. Like, I don't know, they're like bombarding us. But the point is, we do have stuff to stay ahead of the curve. And that's what we're here all about, to share. So if a lot of people here know about, or if you don't know, and the first time you're hearing about is Masterpiece, it is like a homeopathic, naturopathic remedy with zeolite Z. It tastes like salt water, and you only need to take a couple of drops in the morning and the evening, like 4 drops in the morning and 4 drops in the evening. They got it down to that. The results that I saw with my eyes, and people were in tears when they saw this technology. The point is, it needs to be caged safely. And that's what Masterpiece does. Masterpiece, PEACE, in case you're listening and you don't have a visual. Joe will have a link in your show description. Joe, will ya? Okay. And I'll have a link in my show description. And I know Maria's been using it too. Mm-hmm. So we're all on the same page here. So as our body heals and it's starting to release, this technology, wow. If grab some Masterpiece, it's not that expensive. Bottle will last you about 4 to 6 weeks. Cages the nanotech. The person who created it had access to this advanced technology that the bad guys were using for the bad stuff, but he got a hold of that and got to use it for the good stuff for we the people. So check out Masterpiece as well.
Yeah, it's amazing when you're looking at the technology, and then your arsenic level, didn't it come down to like 0?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Good memory. Oh,
that was because I think arsenic has a very long half-life in the body. It's hard to get rid of.
It is.
And I feel like didn't you say your numbers went from really high?
They were worried about me. In fact, after I had the blood test, I had to go do the 24-hour urine test. Okay. And I brought it in, and they're like, whoa, you're walking around looking like you're perfectly healthy, but this is a very high count of arsenic. This is concerning. Right. What did I do? I started taking Masterpiece. I had the test the next year because I go once a year and get all those tests. You know how you go once a year for your annual? Gone. They were like, huh? Yeah.
And then graphene oxide going down. One of the first tests they did when I was watching the video, 509,000 units, I think, was in the original test, using the what do they call that? This is the mainline, the baseline. There we go. That was the baseline test, was like 509,000 units. And after, I think it was 180 days of using Masterpiece, it went down. It might've been 90 days, went down to 53.9. It was amazing. That's graphene oxide.
Okay. And get this. Okay. Caroline Mansfield, and she's been on Joe's show and my show. Okay. She looked all over Europe because she's out of England. She looked all over Europe and could only find one lab that would test for graphene oxide. Why? Because everybody else, they're in line with the whatever, the globalists, the
Right.
depopulation agenda. But anyway, they were like, oh no, we don't test for that. We don't know. Why would we test for that? That wouldn't show up in human beings' bodies. She found one lab in Germany. And guess what? Everybody had graphene oxide in their blood. So what those guys were saying, we don't test for it because it's not in the human body, BS. Okay. So she went to this German lab and got to test everybody, and everyone who took Masterpiece, it dropped down. And then all of a sudden, the guy who owned and ran the lab is no longer with us. So I'm not sure what happened there, but the lab is not testing anymore for graphene oxide, but we got the test done that we needed. And it does take it out of the body.
I didn't realize that they don't test anymore for graphene oxide.
Well, nowhere in the US will. And Caroline could only find one lab in Germany that would do it. And now they no longer do it, but we already got the testing approved.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I aired that documentary on there, just because, we try and share. The goal is to share, what's out there to help humanity, and not really necessarily focus on certain companies at times. It's like, what people need to know this stuff,
right.
So it's really important. So I'm really glad you clarified that, Sherry, because I didn't realize, because I did look into the lab itself, but I didn't realize that now they no longer test for graphene oxide. That's really interesting.
Right. They don't. And there were other 28 forever chemicals and such that they tested on the body. So it's well tested. They put all their funding into
thank goodness that she found a lab that would do it before they got paid or told to stop doing it. Yeah,
exactly. And Maria, I don't know if you want to share any other testimonials, anybody in the chat, if there's something particular you want to hear, but any other, because there's such a wide range of the P90 plus, what it's helped people with. And I guess the bottom line is, if like that slide you showed us, which is actually a video that's very cool, that shows the blood before using the P90 plus and the blood cells after and the difference.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And I just go back to better blood flow equals better everything. So if that's the foundational component, then everything else just is a beautiful addition to it.
Right.
Exactly. Were there any slides that we hadn't shown? I know we only have you for a short time today.
You could put it on. I think there were some testimonial slides that I had in there that just showed a couple of things. Let me go back here. So you look at this inflammation, 3 weeks of using it. Isn't that amazing? Again, that blood flow one. Look at this difference. This is what I see a lot. I see a lot of below the knee or below the waist edema, and how just one session on the P90 can make such a huge difference. Here's blood pressure. This is amazing, right? After one session. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to have my mom do it before and after, and so she can see that. That's thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And this is oxygen perfusion. So this is using a pulse ox. And it went from 1.6 oxygenation to 14.6%. So that's huge. The other ones we would have to read, but I'm trying to think of, I think those were all the slides that I had. So I'm thinking that if I'm looking at, what's gone in my office, mostly it's been, I feel better. I'm sleeping better. I have more energy through the day. My eyesight is changing. Pain is gone. I'm not having to take medication anymore. My blood sugar levels have come down. My blood pressure levels have come down. I mean, when I think about it, I'm just going, this is a device that will help you with the inflammation, reduce the inflammation. If we can reduce the inflammation and congestion and get better blood flow, oxygen, and micronutrients to the cells, we don't even know what our body's capable of doing, right? We don't even know what's happening inside that could potentially being helped because we just took the time to be on a device for 20 minutes once or twice a day.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And I got mine for, there are a lot of women that are osteopenia or starting to lose some, how the whole pH imbalance of the body, if your body is more acidic, it pulls, and this well, Maria, it pulls calcium to try to alkalize the body. And so if it's pulling calcium out of the bones because your body is too acidic, well, then your bones are going to start suffering and you're going to have
osteopenia and then osteoporosis. Yes. Yeah.
And so you know, what I've heard and is that, you know, this, and which is one of the main reasons I got mine also, is that it helps with bone to, you know,
right.
helps with bone density. With that bone density. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, gosh, well, I just want to thank everybody. I don't know if you want to say anything in closing, or Joe, you have any more comments?
No, I mean, not right now. I just some ideas for somebody. No, this is great. I appreciate you both joining me and airing this on our platform so people might see this on our different channels. But it's just great to, because when Scott and I started TrueStream, we never knew where it was going. So, you know, and we've heard of med beds and technologies and all this stuff. So it's great to have something that's actually really affordable for what it does for everybody to be able to get one and start the healing, whether there's med beds coming technically or not. I mean, why wait around, especially if you
feel like this is the closest thing we have right now. This trifecta of healing. I feel like this is the closest thing we have right now to actually asking or initiating the body to do a little bit more so that it knows it can heal. We're just giving it another tool that will circumvent all the stuff that's coming to us.
And Maria, on that note, because I know the listeners are thinking about this, like not to name other things, but how do you compare? Because, you know, we're coming out with new things, just like the P90 Plus. Some people may have never heard of it, but soon you will. It's going like wildfire in a great way, you know, in the US and around the world. And they have over 200 patents, right, for this technology.
For this and upcoming devices that haven't even been developed yet. They have patents for the utility patents, design patents for what they haven't even produced yet. Yeah.
Wow. So and how would you compare it as being a naturopath? Because you've tried a whole bunch of different things. So
I feel like this is so integrated. I mean, it says here multi-integrated. I feel like that's exactly it. Every device that I've had has some uniqueness to it. This is the one, if the building was burning, this is the one I would grab because I feel like this has done more in a short period of time than I've seen any other device do. And I've been doing this for quite some time. So it's a beautiful thing to have something just come along and you're like, wow, 98% of the people that get on it feel something the first time. They feel it in the first session. That doesn't happen with every device. That doesn't happen. So this has been really fun because it's affordable for people and they can have it in their own home and then they can share it with their whole network of people because everybody needs to look at what do you have in your toolbox? What do you have in your healing toolbox?
Yep.
Right. Gosh, I just want to thank you again so much, Maria Boldry. You're amazing for sharing all this with us. And I know you're highly, highly respected and have been working and helping people out for a very long time. And Joe, I want to thank you so much for helping people out, doing what you do and having us both on your show today. We're doing a co-live, which is very exciting. It's the first time I've done a live, and certainly a co-live. So thank you, Joe, very much for all that you do as well. And just I wanted to remind everybody that if you get one of these, we should automatically remember that we will purchase for you one of Maria Boldry's latest edition of her ebook as a gift.
Absolutely. It's an honor to do the work. And Sherry, hopefully on your end, you get to maybe do more of these and a little less editing.
Exactly. Guys, I work really hard. Yeah. We all do. I know. Yeah. But yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. I think that's everything. Like has been scrolling along the bottom, whoever's show or whoever's channel you're watching the show on. The links are below. Go in the description. If you're on Rumble and you're on your phone, you have to go under the ad that's under the video. It's kind of quirky to find that description. So yeah, they'll be there. So with that, I think I think that Maria, if people want to reach out to you or had questions, what is the best way to get a hold of you? Because I want to make sure I put your website on our link.
Oh, you're awesome. So Light Life Solutions is my brick and mortar building. So LITELIFE solutions.com.
Okay.
lightlifesolutions.com. And also I have a link tree, linktree.com/light life, LITELIFE.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put that. That's great. Because some people might have questions for you.
Yeah, sure. Reach out. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Very cool.
All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to play the outro and all of us will see you at some point very soon. So with
Bye-bye,
that, take care.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
I have known for some time something about the world ain't right. But darkness lives in plain sight. In the ether, adjust your eyes. There are those that have no clue. You give them hints, they just stare at you. Most have lived in Plato's cave, watching